Once we've completed the services for our cases, and in this case, the case for Susan B. Anthony, we're going to prep to close our case. Now, again, we mentioned in the reject video that there are two different ways to effectively end a case. You can reject a case if a case has become one that you cannot provide a service to. Many agencies opt to use the reject form that's covered elsewhere. But more commonly, we can also close a case. So if I go up here to actions, I'll see, type in my keyword close. I'm just going to click on my close case. I'm going to see all the various information around closing, and we'll go through each of these in just a second. One thing that we're not going to go through on this video are outcomes. Our Outcomes V2 is a separate module, and it's a separate video that you can access on our YouTube channel or on our onboarding portal. We have the date that we close the case, which is defaulted to today's date. We have a close reason, and these are set up with our pretty standard A for counsel and advice, B for limited action, etc. Again, you can change what's in this lookup. Our case status, which we have defaulted to closed. We have our file destroy date, and this will calculate the date that your paper file will be slated to be destroyed. This adds 7 years onto the close date. Please note that this does not impact the electronic record at all. The electronic record will be in your system regardless of the file destroy date. This is only for your paper file. We have the number of people helped who are 18 and over and who are under 18. This, in many situations, will default to the number of people in the financial household that we entered when we did the intake. But you can change it here as well for those situations where there may be a person who was part of the was helped by your services, but was not part of the financial household, or vice versa. We have whether or not this is a good story, and I can click yes or no. Some groups decide to have a text box that opens when somebody says yes, so that they can describe in narrative form what that good story is. And then you see here we have, was the case timely closed? And this is defaulted to yes with the green. It's based off of a block for CSR eligibility on the back end that your admins can set up. We also have a place for notes and a place to email those notes to. So if you have any closing notes that maybe you want to share with your supervisor or somebody else, you can type them up here and then email them out. We have outcomes, which again, we're going to skip for just a second. And then we also down here have the caseworker who closed the case. You can see here that we have a message that's telling us that a closing number will be automatically assigned. A couple of things are happening on the back end once we hit continue. The first is that the disposition will automatically be set to close. That's just part of the closing form and the way that this closing form is set up, even though we don't see that here on the screen. As the instructions indicate, there will also be a closing number that will be automatically assigned. This is in addition to the case number. The case number is numeric based on the intake date. The closing number is numeric based on the close date. So some agencies use that for archival purposes. You can also set up a block on the back end of the closed case form that will allow you to restrict case closings where there are no time slips on the case itself. So if you know that an advocate needs to put in some time, you can set that up on a block on the back end of the closing form. If I hit continue here, it will ask me because close reason was required. And so once I hit it again, I'll see over here, this in my snapshot, it went from disposition open to disposition closed. And rather than being a green box, it's now a red box. This case is now closed. I can reopen it by going here to actions and going to reopen my case. There may also be certain things that my admin has set up that I am now prohibited from doing because my case is closed, such as editing specific information or entering time. Those tend to be the two big ones. Otherwise, I can see the same information. I can report on the same information. My case is simply now closed.